So for those of you that have been to Spain, you know that Spanish food is so much more than just paella, sangria, y gazpacho. Not to say those things are not great, but we have so many good things here in Spain, like Manchego cheese, Spain's famous sheep's milk cheese. Anyways, with that being said, today we're making 4 delicious Spanish tapas using Manchego cheese, folks. This is it. This is the real deal. All these tapas dishes are so easy to make. They're all packed with Spanish flavor, and each one is done in just 20 minutes or less. This is going to be a beautiful journey into Spanish cuisine, so let's dive right in. For our first tapas dish, we are making Manchego cheese on crackers. This is such a simple tapas dish, but has such an extraordinary flavor. The secret here, make sure to use an aged Manchego cheese, as that nutty flavor pairs perfectly with the sweet strawberries. I'm going to begin by derinding a block of Manchego cheese. This one has been aged for 6 months, and then cut it into slices that are a 1/4 inch thick. For the next ingredient, I'm going to grab about 8 fresh strawberries, rinse them under some cold running water, gently pat each one dry with some paper towels, and then thinly slice them into slices that are about 1/8 of an inch thick. For the final ingredient to prepare, I'm going to remove the needles from a stem of fresh rosemary. The secret here is go against the grain. And finely chop the rosemary. Alright, let's start assembling our tapas dish. I'm going to grab 1 cracker, add a slice of Manchego cheese on top, a couple slices of our fresh strawberries, add a kiss of extra virgin olive oil over the strawberries, and sprinkle it with some of our freshly chopped rosemary. Folks, our first Spanish tapas dish is done. You saw it, so easy to put together, such simple ingredients, but when you combine them together, it's an explosion of goodness. The secret here, like I told you earlier, make sure to use an aged Manchego cheese that's at least 6 months. That is the magic with those strawberries that gives this dish that incredible pop of flavors. Moving on to our second tapas dish, we are making melted Manchego Montaditos with dates and rosemary. This promises to be one of the best things you've ever tasted. It's sweet and savory. It is absolutely delicious. I'm going to begin by derinding a block of Manchego cheese and then cutting it into slices that are about 1/8 of an inch thick. Now the Manchego cheese we're using here has been aged for only 3 months versus 6 months like in the previous recipe, as the younger Manchego cheeses melt a lot easier. And then cut each slice of cheese in half. For the next ingredient, I'm going to grab about 8 dates. These have already been pitted, and roughly chop them. And once again, we're going to grab another sprig of fresh rosemary. Just go against the grain to easily remove the needles from the stem. And roughly chop the rosemary. And for the last ingredient to prepare, we're going to grab 1 baguette and cut it into diagonal slices that are about 1 inch thick. Alright, let's start assembling our tapas dish. I'm going to grab a slice of the baguette, add in 2 pieces of the Manchego cheese, add in some of the chopped dates over the cheese, and sprinkle it with the freshly chopped rosemary. And continue to do this until they're all assembled. Once they're all assembled, I'm going to transfer them into a baking tray that's lined with foil paper. And add them into a preheated oven, bake and broil option, 210 degrees Celsius, which is 425 degrees Fahrenheit. After about 5 minutes and that cheese is fully melted, I'm going to take them out of the oven And check it out, our second tapas dish using Manchego cheese is done. Look how beautiful these turned out. You got that incredible melted Manchego cheese, which has a beautiful aroma, combined with the rest of the ingredients again. It's an explosion of goodness. Make this one at home. It will truly blow you away. For our third tapas dish, we are making Manchego Skewers with olives and roasted peppers. Just like the first recipe, this one's very simple, but it has the most extraordinary flavors, plus it is super easy to make. I'm going to begin by derining a block of Manchego cheese. Again, just like the first recipe, this one's been aged for 6 months, so it has a beautiful salty and nutty flavor, and cutting it into squares that are 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. For the next ingredient, I'm gonna grab some green pimento stuffed Spanish olives, add them into a sieve, and shake off any of the excess liquid in the olives. For the final ingredient to prepare, I'm gonna grab about 3 jarred roasted red bell peppers, give them a quick pat down with some paper towels, and then cut each one into 4 evenly sized pieces. Okay, let's start assembling our tapas dish. I'm gonna roll up one of the pieces of roasted pepper, pierce it with a toothpick, add in one of our green Spanish pimento stuffed olives, and a piece of cheese. And continue to assemble your skewers until they're all done. Once you have all your skewers assembled, sprinkle a kiss of dry thyme over the roasted peppers, folks. Our third tapas dish using Manchego cheese is done. Look how easy this came together, but it has such an extraordinary flavor. The secret, make sure to use a Manchego cheese that's aged at least 6 months. That way it has a nice nutty and salty flavor. Then you combine that with that briny olive and that sweet roasted pepper for an explosion of goodness. For our fourth and final tapas dish using Manchego cheese, we saved one of the best ones for last. We're making fried Manchego cheese with panko breadcrumbs. This promises to be one of the best fried cheese dishes you've ever tasted. We're talking perfectly melted, mouth-watering cheese next to some crispy panko breadcrumbs. This recipe is very easy to make and it's full of so many great flavors. Once again, I'm going to begin by derinding a block of Manchego cheese and cutting it into slices that are about 1/4 inch thick. Now the cheese I'm using to make this recipe is a Manchego that's been aged for 3 months. You want to use a younger one here as the cheese easily melts. For the next step of the recipe, I'm going to add in a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour into a bowl, crack 1 egg into a separate bowl, add in 1 tablespoon of milk into the egg, and mix it all together until the egg is well beaten. And for the final ingredient to prepare, I'm going to measure out 1 cup of panko breadcrumbs and add it into a 3rd separate bowl. The beauty of panko breadcrumbs is that when you fry them, they don't absorb as much oil, giving them a beautiful crispy texture. I'm going to season the panko breadcrumbs with 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of dried thyme, a generous 1/4 teaspoon of fine sea salt, and 1/8 teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper. And I'm going to mix this all together, that way those seasonings are evenly divided through all the panko breadcrumbs. Alright, let's start coating our slices of Manchego cheese. First you want to dust it off in the all-purpose flour, making sure to shake off any of the excess flour, then into the egg wash. Again, making sure to shake off any of the excess egg wash, and then into the breadcrumbs, making sure you evenly coat it all around. And as you finish each one, transfer it into a dish. And continue to do this until all your slices of Manchego cheese are coated. Okay, for the final step, let's fry up our slices of coated Manchego cheese. I'm going to heat a large frying pan with a medium heat and add in a generous half cup of sunflower oil. If you don't have sunflower oil, you can use whatever neutral vegetable oil you like. After heating the oil for about 4 minutes and it's nice and hot, I'm going to start adding the slices of cheese into the pan. You want to cook them in batches to not overcrowd the pan. After 50 to 60 seconds, I'm going to start flipping the slices of cheese to fry the other side. You don't want to go any longer, otherwise the cheese will fully melt and fall apart in the pan. After about 2 minutes, I'm going to start removing the slices of fried cheese from the pan and transferring them into a dish with some paper towels. And continue to cook in batches until all your slices of Manchego cheese are fried. Our fourth and final tapas dish using Manchego cheese is then, seriously, check out this fried Manchego cheese with those crispy panko breadcrumbs. Such beautiful flavors here. That cheese is fully melted, but it still stayed together. Give this one a try. It is absolutely delicious, and it comes together in just 20 minutes. That's it. All 4 of our Spanish tapas using Manchego cheese is done. You saw it. Each one's so easy to make, all of them loaded with Spanish flavor, but the best part, each one was done in just 20 minutes or less. This is a cheese lover's dream. Make these tapas at home. They're gonna absolutely blow you away. Really quick before I go, a quick shout out to one of my patrons, Lawrence Bourbon. Again, Lawrence, thank you so much for all your support. I truly appreciate you. For the rest of you, if you're not with me on Patreon, consider becoming one. It helps with ingredients and equipment to continue making videos like this. You'll find my Patreon link in the description box below and iCard above. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button, leave me a comment below. If you're not subscribed, smash that subscribe button. Till the next time, hasta luego.